are your memories of the Montreal Screwjob?
Oh, boy. Well, I was right front and center there. I was a commissioner, and what was going on was Brett was approached by WCW to come in. So we were doing a meeting at Vince's house, a booking meeting, and Brett calls, and hey, Brett, how you doing? Good. And he put the cradle back on, and he put it on speaker, so we all could hear the conversation. And Brett said, the WCW has offered me a big contract to come in. And Vince said, how much was it? So he told him, he said, I can match that. Don't go anywhere. You don't need to go anywhere. I can match that. So about a week later, we're doing the same thing. Brett calls again. Yeah, they called back. They offered me more. Well, how much more? I'll match that. You stay here with us. You don't have to go down there. Just stay right here with us. So pretty soon it got to a certain amount, and Vince said, well, I'll tell you what, Brett, if they're going to give you that kind of money, I can't stop you. You need to go get it. But why don't we do this? Why don't you tell them that I'm going to match that and see what they say? So, of course, I didn't hear the next conversation, but I heard through a couple other guys that they actually went above what they were originally going to give him. So Vince was helping Brett. He went from this much money to way up here by just playing cat and mouse with them, because they were loaded with Ted Turner. And so now Brett's going to go. We all know Brett's leaving, and so Vince wants to make sure that he does the right thing and put the title on somebody, and he wanted him to put it on Sean. And Sean and Brett hated each other. And so Brett said, I won't do it. I'll do it to who's the fighter?
Ken Shamrock.
Ken Shamrock. I'll put it on Ken Shamrock. Monday night, we were doing a pay-per-view Sunday in Montreal. Next night was Toronto, Monday Night Raw. He said, I'll drop it Monday Night Raw to him. And so the match is going, And so finally it was time for the main event, Brett and Sean. So Vince says, Sarge, you're the commissioner, you come down with me. So I go down, I'm sitting ringside watching this match, as I told you at the beginning, I'm a fan, still am a fan. And so I'm watching this match. And all of a sudden, Sean gets Brett into the sharpshooter, and Earl Hebner starts saying, ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell. And I went, what is going on? Because I didn't hear Brett say I give or anything. And Sean drops him out of the hold, and he comes over to Vince, and he goes, what are you doing? What are you doing? Not like this, not like this. And Vince grabbed the title from the bell keeper and gave it to the referee, said, give it to him. So he gives him the belt, and the referee took off, and there Brett was in the ring, and Sean's like, didn't know what to do, and Vince says, come on, let's go, come on, Sarge, let's go. So they all take off, and I'm going, I'm not going anywhere. I got to see what's going to happen here, So Brett starts destroying the place. They're knocking the monitors and everything. But right before he left, he leans over off the top rope at Vince, and he goes, you're a no good SOB. He took a big boom and spit and hit Vince right in the eye with a big honker. And it was like going down his face. I don't want to do, Jesus. So then off he goes with the other guys, and I'm watching. So finally I get back to the gorilla position where we all go in and out. And in the back, you always have signs up telling you where to go: catering, videos, promos, photos, Vince's office, the regular office. So I see Vince's office, and I start ripping them off the walls. to give Vince time to get the heck out of there or whatever he's going to do, because I wasn't know anything about it. So here comes Brett coming up after he destroyed everything out of the ring, and he comes right up to me in my face, and he said, "Where's that son of a bitch?" And he was going to like punch me. I said, "Brett, I had no idea that was going to happen." And he goes, "I believe you, Serge. I believe you. But where's that son of a bitch?" And I said, "I think he's probably in his office." So he goes out, and he can't see where Vince's office is because there's no signs. And so finally, somebody tells him that's where he is. So he's like kicking on the door. And they're not opening up the door. So finally, Brett heads out to his locker room. So I said, "Well, I better go in the locker room." So I walk in the locker room, and lo and behold, who's in the locker room? Shawn Michaels, sitting crying on the bench like a little baby. And I went, "Holy cow, what's he doing in here?" You know. And so Brett turns around, sees him, and he goes, "Did you know that was going to happen? Did you know that was going to happen?" He said, I didn't know anything. He said, "Well, if I find out you did, I'm going to kill you." I didn't know, I didn't do it. So I go over to Brett. I said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just want to kill that son of a bitch." I said, "Well, I don't want to leave here thinking that you might do something to Shawn. Is he okay, or are you going to leave him alone?" Yeah, he's not worth it." So I said, "Okay." So I go to leave. And as I go to leave, here's Vince coming with his entourage. And I said, "Whoop, I better sneak back in here." And on the way, Vince is getting showered by Brett's family with spit and kicking him and throwing stuff at him, and like an Iraqi sympathizer. And so here he comes, and he stands there, Gerald Briscoe, Pat Patterson, a couple other guys, Shane McMahon. So they're sitting there, or standing there talking, and Brett comes up. He said, Vince says, "Brett, I had to do what I had to do for business because I couldn't let what happened with Medusa dropping the title into the garbage on live television and WCW. And you weren't playing ball." He said, "You know I was going to do it tomorrow night. You know I was going to do it tomorrow night." He said, "I couldn't take a chance. He said, "I had to do what I had to do, not only for me and my son and all these people, but all these wrestlers here and all those that are out there. I did that for them, not because I wanted to screw you. I had to do it. It's business." So Brett says, "I ought to just knock the out of you." And Vince put his hands to his side. He said, "Well, here I am. If you want to do something about it, do it." So Brett turned to walk away, and he goes, "You ain't worth it." And so he turned around, and Vince kind of was like not paying attention, and Brett turned around and hit him with a right hand into the eyeball, and down went Vince. Buckled his knees and pretty much knocked him out. So then Shane goes after Brett, and Brett says, "And you're next, you little weasel." And he was gonna hit him, and then Gerald Briscoe got in between them. And he said, "And you're in next after him, Briscoe. I know you're in on this." And so then I jumped in, and I said, "Brett, you got to stop." He said, "I'm not going to do nothing to you, Sarge." But I said, "Well, you've done enough damage, I think." And at that time, they're pulling Vince out of the locker room. They're pulling him down the hallway, and I finally said, "Are you okay? You all right? Shawn, why don't you get your stuff and get the hell out of here?" And so when Shawn gets his stuff and starts walking out, I follow him. And as Vince, they're dragging Vince, I should say, dragging him down the hallway, Brett's family's there again. Boom! "You're no good, shut him." And so that was what happened.